Ooh, interesting one. How do you manage team dynamics during sprint retrospectives? I mean, it's an interesting one because it depends what you mean by manage team dynamics. Team dynamics are the interplay between those people, who's getting on, who's not, where's the power, where's the information, all of these things bubbling along, and it just is. In the main, it just is. Within a retrospective, what we're likely talking about is managing the power differences, managing the relationships. How do we bring them to the fore and maybe level them? Okay, so these are important parts. What we want to do in any retrospective is create a level playing field, an opportunity for any member of the team to be heard, to bring whatever concerns them to the table, it be heard, it be considered, okay, and potentially a possible resolution put forwards to take in to a future sprint. How do we do that? And the answer is difficult. The answer is very long, very involved, but it's going to fall back on a few key skills. One of them is facilitation. You are there as a Scrum Master very often to facilitate the retrospective. And what we have to remember is our role as a facilitator is neutral. We aren't in the content, we aren't taking sides. Okay? So when there are power dynamics, we have to remember not to be drawn in, not to be swayed one way or the other, but look at it on balance. Is that person who has the influence, who has the power, who maybe has the authority, dominating the conversation? And if so, how do we dampen it down? How do we bring them down to more of a level, or the others up to meet them? Okay? So we're going to use tools and techniques. So we're going to break it down so that person who likes the sound of their own voice maybe, okay, is moved into a smaller group of people, as are others, with an opportunity to talk. And indeed, remember, you don't have to leave them in the same group all the time. We can move them around to share the load. So we're going to use facilitation tools. We're going to remember that our role is to be one of neutral, to keep people to an agenda, to direct their attention to what matters now, okay, and ensuring that everybody has a chance to talk. So encouraging discussion and enabling it. Okay? So we're absolutely going to be there as a facilitator to help these balances. Make sure that no one person or no one clique has too much of the airtime. Okay? We're also going to use the coaching tools that you've got. Okay? Asking questions that elicit things. Okay? Not yes, no's, but considered opinions. We're going to invite people to explore spaces, and in doing so, as part of encouraging that discussion from facilitation, we're likely to uncover things. Okay? Our role as facilitator and coach within the team is never straightforward. It's never going to be, this meeting I'm just going to be a facilitator, this meeting I'm going to be a coach, I'm going to be a trainer over here. You're likely to be blending all of these skills together very much in the moment. You're going to be thinking, well, okay, it feels more facilitatory now, so I'm going to step more into that stance. And that will naturally flow into a point of saying, actually, they're back on track, they're going really well, they need something to move them forwards. They need something that rebalances the scales. Do I go back into facilitator and break this group down again and let them have a moment's peace? Or do I ask them a question that really drives them towards the end goal of action? Okay? Questions like this become very hard because the answer is going to be whatever makes sense in the moment. However it feels that you want to balance those team dynamics as you see them. Okay? And this is part of it. It's part of the human condition, isn't it? We can only see what's in front of us. We can only see what is available. Remote is much harder because if they've got the cameras on, you can see they're up and that's it. I could be doing, a river dance special. I'm not. I can't do that. But you don't know. Okay. But in person, we can see the whole person. We can read their body language. We can get an idea of what's happening, who's engaged, who's not. Okay. Who's got something to say but isn't getting a chance. Who's got something to say but really doesn't care that much about getting the chance. Okay. We're going to manage that dynamic very much moment to moment. We can go in and we can be deliberate, but I can almost guarantee what's going to happen is the team is going to throw a curveball. You go in with a plan. We all do it. And I love having a plan. That purpose of, that activity of planning is brilliant. Have we considered things? But you know what? Teams never do as you think they will. That's the fun from what we do. Okay, what we've now got to do is think on our feet. How do we maybe even salvage this meeting and get it back on track? This exercise isn't working. What can I throw in to create the same outcomes? All of these things are very much driven by your team, their dynamics, their relationships, their behaviors. Okay, so what you need to do to manage that dynamic really well in a retrospective is practice. And the best place to practice is with your team, where it's safe to do so. If you get it wrong, put your hand up, admit it. This isn't working. I'm going to try something different. Or even, I've never done this before. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's give it a go. You're going to be a great Scrum Master. I'm not concerned about that. The way to stay one and to really grow into the role is to try stuff out. See what works with your team. Ask permission to try things. Accept, acknowledge when you get it wrong. Okay? Maybe with a bit of a laugh. It works for me. Okay? Always have a backup plan. Okay, that's why you spend that time planning. As I'm introducing this new exercise, and if it goes horribly wrong, here's one I made earlier. Great. Okay, but what you're going to do is work out for your team, how do we play with that dynamic? How do we level that playing field so that everybody can be heard in the retrospective, so that it can truly be a safe place to explore how to improve that very dynamic that we need to manage to make sure that they can improve it. And I'm not going to start going down that loop. So, how do you manage the team's dynamic in the retrospective? It's practice. There's no other way. Work with them, see what works. Take time after your retrospective to sit down and consider it as part of your reflection. What did we want to do? What actually happened? What can we learn from this? And how can we do it better next time? Take some time out to step through that, through whatever aspect of the meeting makes sense to consider. Let it come. Make a note if it works for you. Okay? But look at it, think, I did as well as I could today. I've got ways to be better tomorrow, and move forwards. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.